All right, our first Terran player here in for Empire, the first of many, I'm sure, with such a stacked Terran roster. He is the orange Terran down in the bottom left of Daybreak. It's going to be Beastyqt, and he'll be facing off against one of Dignitas' more recent additions and actually one of their stronger players now. d.JonnyREcco did a great job earlier in the contender division. He is the red Zerg up in the top right.
I think he scored it was a 4-kill or was it a 3-kill?
It was 4.
I know it was a lot.
4 against in a socio.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's right. And so he's obviously shown he has what it takes. He's been a great up-and-coming player, and he's getting a lot of attention, and it's certainly been worth it. And he's going up against Beastyqt, a guy who has been called in a lot of circumstances for Empire. You mentioned they're very strong Terran players. They have the players like Koss and Braddock sitting on the sidelines as well.
Oh, yeah, and I'm just now remembering when I see Happy say, oops. I'm remembering these guys are pretty chatty. They do like to talk in Russian a lot, and then I try to figure out what they're saying.
Correct.
Hopefully, they'll keep it to a minimum for this series, as you know, we do want to focus as much as we can on the actual games. d.JonnyREcco actually just sending that first drone out to scout. Doesn't look like he wants to plan it as a hatchery just yet. Still saving up toward that 15th drone before getting a hatchery or pool placed down.
Yes, sir. And Beastyqt going with a 1-Rax gasless fast expander, so it appears. Yes, he is. Has the multiple SCVs queued up now, and this is as standard can be. Now, we've seen a lot of Zerg players that have decided to go for 3 hatch before pool if they see a command center first, but obviously he's going to get in here, and that's kind of crazy. He's pointing, this is where he wants them to end up.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, and they just undid all of it, so that's kind of weird. Either way, the drone is going to get in here without any problems, going to be able to check everything out. No refineries placed down, nothing out of the ordinary. d.JonnyREcco is going to place his hatchery at 15. No spawning pool yet, so he could be saving up again for a super fast third hatch. About 3.5-minute mark is where you would see that, but nope, there is the pool actually getting dropped at this moment. He could still take that third pretty quick. 4.5 minutes is kind of the next window there if he does want to do that.
That's right, you know, but I would love to see one of the foreign Zerg players out there play similar to what we've seen out of TSL Hyun so much over the past few weeks when he's been demolishing Terran players left and right, going for that earlier gas and moving towards mass aggression in the mid-game. I just, from a spectator's point of view, while it may not secure you the most victories to some players, I think it's a very fun way to watch TVC, as it's always lots of aggression and lots of excitement.
And that's usually what I like to watch too, is just more aggressive builds. Macro obviously has its place later on when you've got all the tier 3 units running around bashing into each other and stuff like that. You've got spells firing off every which way. That can be really exciting. It's just the build-up is less exciting. Sometimes players just kind of poke here and there and don't really try to kill their opponent or even disrupt them. They just try to race to that perfect composition and do their damage in the late game. That's just, you know, it's a little bit slower, but I do like these aggressive plays a little bit more. No one is actually doing that this time around. It looks like we are going to be settling in for a longer game on this one.
Oh, just 22 hit points remaining, and Beastyqt has to get away. That would have been a really nice pickup for him at the beginning of the game. He, though, of course, has factory and a reactor coming up afterwards. A lot of players, after taking the second gas, will decide to just move into starport and a third command center. We've seen, though, specifically, I think it was actually Beastyqt, but out of the Empire's Terran players, against their players, they love to just drop down 2 more barracks and go straight into their normal mid-game composition afterwards. Also a possibility that we'll see mech here on this map.
Yeah, I feel a little bit bad for Beastyqt. If you go back to that Overlord that actually just barely escaped, look at that. So if it was flying over space, he would have killed it because he could still see it. But the fact there's a tiny little tiny strip of land that's raised doesn't even need to be there. There's actually no reason for it to be there except for this Overlord to hide. I actually feel really bad for Beastyqt not being able to get that, but good move by d.JonnyREcco keeping it alive. Just weird how terrain works in these games sometimes. You know, it's been a point of contention in the past on maps like Lost Temple, where you have these ledges just kind of in terrible places, and you know, it's sometimes you can find little advantages like this. Overlord hiding is just one use for that kind of weirdly placed terrain. There's another like little hill to the right of this screen where an Overlord could just chill and be safe from anything on the ground.
Yeah, well, like you said, it's amusing to me. It's always like, and I'm drawing a League of Legends example here, so I'm sure I'll get yelled at by chat. But
I'm gonna yell at you.
Yeah, when you have Cho'Gath sitting in the bushes, you know, that just doesn't make any sense.
Cho'Gath sitting in the bushes.
Yeah, because he's like 1,000,000 miles tall and sitting in 4-foot bushes. How is he How is he sitting there?
He's very well hidden. He's,
How is he invisible?
Bushes. Well, it's just like the visibility blockers on this game, right? You've got these Thors sitting just on the other side of a smoke screen, and it's like you take one step through, and it's like, oh my God, Thors! I had no idea. These massive units were hiding over here. Colossi are the same way. I mean,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So either way, both games have examples of that. This Hatch is taking some real damage from these Hellions. He doesn't really have any way to respond to it just yet.
No, he's continuing to drone up as well. He's content with the 8-lings he already has on the map. He's going to send some queens over. Of course, it'll take a very long time for the Hellions to actually make their way through this hatchery. The more he's pulling units out of position and buying time for these eventual cloaked banshees to make their way across the map. The first banshee did just get started, I believe. No, there is one on the map, and it's where is it actually?
It's somewhere.
I'm not sure.
You know.
Oh, there it is. It's like it was camouflaged next to his own structures.
It looks like a structure, actually. Yeah. It's just really, really confusing. But BeastyQt, maybe he lost it too. He can't find it. Now he has no way to go attack with it.
Oh, naturally.
Oh, no. Wow, he actually did kill the creep timmer right there. I'm going to be curious to see if BeastyQt tries to open up this ramp or keep it kind of shut off to make a sort of funnel for his Hellions. Nice Overlord spotting there on the right side of his main to try to prevent those Overlord sacrifices from getting in too far. Actually, that Overlord is making a move, but that's the one that only had like 40 health earlier on. It has regenerated quite a bit, but BeastyQt might actually be able to deny that scout pretty well.
Yeah.
His buildings are a little too far to the right, though. He should be able to see it.
Okay, let's see here. So a couple of forces in the middle of the map, 2 Banshees being brought to deal with these units, but with 4 queens there, that would be very difficult to deal with. But the Colloquia is done, making its way in, does pick off 1 queen, going to grab a second as well. Nice transfusions to keep it alive at least as long as possible, but 2 queens have already fallen, and these Hellions are still alive.
Yeah, the Spore Crawler is only about halfway done. Also, the Overseer is being morphed in, but isn't anywhere near the actual fight here. More queens coming in to try and defend. The Spore Crawler has finally finished, so detection is available. This Banshee on the right is most likely going to get taken out, but no, BeastyQt actually manages to keep it alive a little bit longer. It's only got 8 HP left, though, so you may want to be pretty careful with that. More crawlers coming in. That was actually a Spine Crawler to try and deal with the Hellions, but looks like BeastyQt is going to be able to escape with at least the Banshees, if not some of these Hellions as well.
He was trying to just sit here and shoot down the hatchery. But the Queen is there now, and he is going to have to back out, but some sort of a follow-up attack, no matter what it is, should be able to knock that down. BeastyQt actually did some pretty considerable damage. Even though no workers have been killed, he killed, what, 4 queens? Yeah. I think it was 4 queens, a bunch of Zerglings. Didn't take loss on any one of his Banshees.
And just to note, because we talked about a little bit earlier, that that Overlord was repelled, did not get in to see any scouting information, so the one Marine did his job. And this Viking is looking all the way along the outside of the map, looking for Overlords to kill. He is going to run into at least one. There's a second if he does actually just let it go. So. Yeah, he'll be able to kill some more Overlords, but soon JonnyREcco could also just pull all of them back and try to keep them alive a little bit longer. BeastyQt still in his production tab, actually making Thors pretty quickly, 2 at a time, just after about 11 minutes is kind of interesting. Adding on way more mech here, 2 more factories, and the starport is only making Banshees actually at the moment. No medevacs or anything.
Yeah, we've seen this out of some Terran players recently, too. I mean, this is a very cool way to go about playing mech. I like it, again, for the pure excitement visual aspects. There's a bunch of big mechs running around, and they look cool. But it can be very effective, especially against, we see, the Mutalisks that are coming out. He's going to need some sort of anti-air. He's going to need to continue producing his Vikings, and hopefully after this Banshee, he'll switch over in just a second, because he's going to need quite a bit of anti-air.
Right. If JonnyREcco does switch to some sort of mass ground army, though, the Hellion Thor strat becomes sort of less effective. Tanks are really, really necessary if that were to happen. But the fact that JonnyREcco is still just making more mutas means that these Thors are going to be pretty good. Vikings, if they start coming out of the starports pretty quickly, they'll be able to help deal with that as well. Look at these Thors already in a great position to ward these away. If he has just one more in the main, that would be great for him as well. I don't see anybody else have turrets there as well, so he should be fine, actually, trying to repel these muta attacks. And now JonnyREcco is going to switch perhaps into Infestors as that pit is about halfway done.
And this Viking's still just continuing on its path. I mean, we saw this a while ago, but he's actually picked off 3 Overlords now. That's pretty good. He's done considerable damage with that.
Yeah, we're at 13.5 minutes, and the Terran player is actually ahead in supply of the Zerg player, which is something you just always have to benefit from. It looks like a hive tech is actually coming up now for JonnyREcco. As soon as that infestation pick got done, he started working on it, so he is planning a little bit more for the late game. He's got 2/2 upgrades for melee coming out, so perhaps going to be doing an Ultralisk switch at some point. Now we see Siege Tech actually coming for BeastyQt. That's going to round out his army pretty nicely.
Spire is up. The roaches are necessary as you move into the late game as well. It's very easy to, after you do some damage to an army, to just be able to reproduce a line of about 40 roaches and send them in at the same time. With Hive Tech coming up and Pathogen Glands on the way, he's obviously banking resources for Tier 3 units here, but what units are going to be his choice? We'll find out in just a second.
All right, 2 Evo Chambers for JonnyREcco, 2 more, I should say, as he already had +2/+2 for melee just finish up. I'm a little bit surprised. Is he actually going up to 4 Evo Chambers? That's kind of interesting. You don't really need 4, do you?
You only need 3, unless he's using them as a blocker somewhere.
That could be, but I don't see them anywhere still.
Yeah, that's weird.
Did he cancel them?
No. Okay, maybe he is. I think he is using them as a blocker. This is actually going to prevent... I mean, they're relatively cheap structures. They build very quickly and accumulate HP in a short period of time. So, I mean, this is kind of a clever way to just funnel units, especially to keep this hatchery alive. I don't know if it's worth the investment, but we'll find out here in a second.
All right, not so bad. I mean, I feel like I would just want more spine crawlers in that case.
Yeah.
Because they have the ability to deal damage as well. But either way, more spine crawlers are being produced. The Ultralisk Cavern is coming up. +3/+3 melee and armor are all coming up. And JonnyREcco looks like he's just trying to buy time for himself, while BeastyQt actually is just getting up more and more mech. It looks like a huge flock of mutas are basically continually kind of bouncing in, looking for a way to try and get some damage done. These Hellions are not great on their own against the Mutalisks, obviously, but with the Thors and the... yeah, just the Thors actually are the only anti-air here.
3 starports coming up, and I think Beasty may very well move over to that Raven strategy here in just a bit. Of course, he will be able to just pump out tons and tons of Vikings if he so desires, but I wouldn't be surprised at all to see a mass Raven switch here in just a second. JonnyREcco has a couple of spine crawlers up at the front, but the meat shield of Hellions, so to speak, is doing its job and allowing these very powerful mech units to just run in behind. We'll see if JonnyREcco's bet is going to pay off for him. He decided to delay until he got Tier 3 units out. He does have 7 Ultralisks on the way, but it's going to be a while before they hit the field.
BeastyQt just steamrolled that base. JonnyREcco obviously did pull a lot of his fighting units back. Those infestors are very valuable to keep alive long enough to get some support around them, but these Thors are just doing incredible damage. Even the small handful of tanks that have come along for the ride are going to serve their purpose. Any Lings or Roaches that come out are going to be blasted down pretty quickly. The Mutas are approaching from the left, while all the Ultras, Lings, and Roaches are approaching from the right. JonnyREcco could have a chance of actually clearing this out with those fungal growths. That's going to get the Banshees killed off eventually if he continues to nail them with fungals, and the Thors are actually going to be cleaned out by the Ultralisks and Mutas. Hellion's trying to loop around and continue this assault as long as he can. He wants to keep JonnyREcco tied up instead of being able to do that counterattack and get some valuable targets in the process. Lots of drones actually getting fried here. It looks like JonnyREcco is actually more concerned with a couple of other units, and lots and lots of drones go down here at the natural. 27 workers killed by BeastyQt.
That's right, and JonnyREcco did lose a base, but he did manage to stop that army at least for a little while. He did some pretty considerable damage to it, and he's actually going to force, or these Banshees are actually just going to die. They don't have any more energy left, and JonnyREcco was able to get up a 4th base at the same time. However, BeastyQt now entrenched in a position with the Planetary Fortress inside of this pocket expansion, and, oh wow,
just
carelessly losing those Hellions.
Yeah, I mean, not a good engagement by any means, but at least they were just Hellions and not like misrallied tanks or Thors or something like that. That would have been a lot more devastating. I wasn't really sure what it was going to be, but Planetary Fortress trying to work down these Ultralisks. They do have all their armor upgrades, I believe, as they try to chew in here. They're not actually going for the SCVs and Mules, though, and Planetary Fortress is not at really any risk. And actually, no, he doesn't have the chitinous plating. Only 3/3 there for the Ultralisks.
I'm not sure what that attack was designed to do. It really didn't do anything, and BeastyQt, I mean, all the losses he took in army and that last attack of his own, just the losses are gone. He is now caught up, and he's actually in a great position. Is he's sitting on 4 bases, moving up to a 5th now. He's actually got a 6th and 7th base already done, and dropping down mules, so his economy is just going to be ridiculous. And all right, not sure what he's doing.
Yeah, he's got auto repair, so he's just waiting, I guess. He's the repair station if any Banshees try to return home or something. Do you mind clicking on an Ultra just and hovering over their armor? I want to make sure that they don't have chitinous. Yeah, they don't have chitinous plating. Okay.
Yeah.
Just making sure. Seeker Missile is coming up for Beastie, like you said. That Raven transition is starting up now. We did see Gumiho versus Hyun on Metropolis, where Ravens made a huge difference, and just dropping a bunch of auto turrets actually can take out hatcheries pretty nicely if the Zerg players tied up elsewhere. So we'll see if that's his plan here, or if he just wants to keep them along with his tanks and Thors to drop those important PDDs and eventually the Seeker missiles.
People have been saying for a while that they are going to become more in favor, and I think that's certainly going to be the case. We've seen more and more TVZs in the late game go towards heavy Raven play, and with all the relevant upgrades coming up, it won't be too long before they're going to be used very effectively to take out large swaths of Zerglings, Mutalisks, anything in the air, really, and on the ground. Yeah,
Infestors obviously blow up pretty quickly to Hunter-Seeker missiles. Broodlords are actually not even fast enough to escape Seeker missiles, so the fact that there are 8 of them coming up now, Beastie should be all right with that. PDD actually blocks those Broodlings from being launched at the ground as well, so, you know, Raven is actually just a great unit all around against the composition we see here from JonnyREcco. More Thor is still in production, another command center actually being built. Not sure where BeastyQt is going to plan to actually land that, as pretty much the entire map is claimed at the moment. And we've got ship weapons, and what is that upgrade in the Terran? I can never remember.
Yeah, durable materials.
So that's going to let those auto turrets last longer. Is that correct?
Yes, yeah. Auto turrets last longer. Seeker missile even. It gives it a little more flying time. So it has a multitude of uses, and it is actually being upgraded. And it's always cool to see those super late game upgrades actually coming online.
We've got actually a base getting cleared out. Just a Ultralisk hit squad. Why not? Just running up, taking out, I believe it was just an orbital. I'm not sure if
it was a planetary. It was a planetary that was just morphing in.
I see. Okay. So, yeah, JonnyREcco with the proper timing there, just running in, knocking that down, trying to get up a base of his own. 14 more drones in production for JonnyREcco. He still did lose a ton of workers during that earlier assault, so these could still be trying to replace those. Yeah, back up to 76 now as those drones are finishing.
Okay, and that's a pretty appropriate amount for him to have as he continues to add on more Tier 3 units. These Banshees have proven to be pretty effective so far. They're able to take out a couple of units on the ground and just kind of zone out the forces for JonnyREcco. But now that both players have pretty much taken everything on the map, in fact, this is the last spot that hasn't been touched so far, but BeastyQt is certainly building enough command centers to be able to get down there in a second.
Well, yeah, he can just continue to build command centers for the Mule possibility. He's got a fusion core actually most of the way done, so we could see some BCs from BeastyQt.
All right, I'm in favor of that with 8 Ravens with full Sky Terran. This is certainly going to be a very fun battle when it actually does hit. Let's take a look at the army from JonnyREcco, though. He has 4 Ultralisks, 9 Broodlords, 7 Corruptors, 5 Infestors. I think he'll certainly want to start upping the numbers of some of those units here in just a bit. He's still got 15 supply to work with.
All right, yeah, 7 Corruptors total coming out now. Neural Parasite is going to be done in time for any BCs that happen to pop out. Behemoth Reactor is code for Yamato Gun or Yamato Cannon. I don't know why they decided to call it Behemoth Reactor instead of just a straight up.
Well, that's actually the it's weapon refit you're thinking
of.
Oh,
really?
It's a Yamato Cannon. Yeah, Behemoth Reactor just gives him more energy. So,
all right. Has he even got the weapons refit yet?
No, he's actually queuing that up
it's queued
afterwards.
So. Well, at least he's planning ahead. You know, getting the energy upgrade first. Will be able to let him get out a lot more BCs before they're actually outfitted with their weapons. Refitted, I guess.
Yes.
Is it weapons refit?
Yes, weapon refit.
So they should just come stock with Yamato Cannon, man.
I know.
Yeah, why don't Thors have strike cannons already on them? It's not like they're sending an SCV out to add to them.
You would think that when the Terran army would research this once, they'd send it out to all other camps. You'd be like, hey, by the way, you can do this.
Yeah, that big cannon that's on the... all you have to do is hit that button, and you don't even have to pay for it. But anyway, Thors with their strike cannons that don't work unless you turn them on.
That's right. And they're not turned on, unfortunately.
Yeah, they're just not. They're never turned on.
Okay.
So all these Vikings actually trying to battle down the Corruptors. Seeker missiles actually going up very quickly, but look at that fungal spread, catching pretty much everything. The Seeker missiles do a good, considerable amount of damage to those Corruptors, but there's still a ton in the air. Point defense drones stopping a lot of Broodlings from actually going down. This is so many Ravens still standing and Vikings. I have to imagine BeastyQt's got the superior superior Air Force here, but once these Corruptors are done, the Broodlords are going to have no chance of doing anything. And yeah, BeastyQt going to rack up a lot of Broodlord kills, and you can see that supply difference really adding up now.
Those point defense drones were so good. A couple of fungals here could take out some of the air units, but it's still not going to be enough to turn things back in JonnyREcco's favor. That was a huge win for BeastyQt.
Right, and even though he did it all without battle cruisers, he is building a wave of them now. They're going to have awesome weapons upgrades by the time they are completed, and you know, he's just supplementing the ground force with a handful of Hellions and tanks. Probably not even going to be too focused on microing those as he continues to siege up, as really the air units are the superstars for him so far. Plus all these spine crawlers on the ground. He really just wants to be able to blast down those Corruptor waves as quickly as he can to win those engagements as stunningly as he did.
And he's killed a lot more workers still. These Banshees are continuing to add value. It's a total of, let's see, 66 workers to 69, but his opponent now actually up to 73. With the 55 that have been killed, he's produced 128 workers this game because of how many have been killed.
Yeah, that's kind of a few. These Banshees actually just shooting away freely because there's no Overseer in sight. They will actually get taken out as soon as an Overseer decides to show up. There he is. The hatch does survive. Look for starports in production now for BeastyQt. He's switching on the entire air, strategy, kind of ditching mech for the time being. All these drones again going to get targeted down by the Hellions. Fungal does kind of stop them in their tracks, but they're still able to shoot and they're still able to kill a lot of drones, and potentially even this hatch rate of transfusion does come down. But really, I mean, I think this hatch is going to be doomed to die eventually anyway. We're going to see, I don't think the Hellions would have been able to do it either way. 3 more battle cruisers coming out now for BeastyQt. He's going to be out of hand very soon.
Oh, man, and Blue Flame Hellions with +3 upgrades, so much damage, 25 damage each swipe, so these drones really don't stand a chance. And it looks like BeastyQt wants to take this position. He's got his giant Air Force moving up. 2-1 upgrades already finished, +3 weapons, +2 armor on the way, and he just obliterates that base.
And seeing battle cruisers in action just makes you question why we just don't see them every single game. Because they're so awesome. They just destroy everything on the ground and the air. Obviously, whoa, was that a whole bunch of PDDs left over?
Yeah, still the point defense drones.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, you don't normally just target them down.
Durable materials, they got 4 minutes now.
That's true. That is an incredibly long PDD, so the Ravens are quite beefy at this point. +3 weapons are going to be done here for air soon for BeastyQt, and he's adding 2 more command centers to turn them into orbitals and just be able to drop mules all over the place.
Okay, and this is going to put him up to, well, a lot of command centers. Let's see here, actually, how many that's going to be.
I think a lot was accurate.
Yeah, I think that's 12. Okay, I was just curious. We're getting up to Tasia. I'm sorry, 13.
Yep.
Here's who we're getting up to Tasia levels here.
All right, JonnyREcco trying to fight back where he can, but here come the Ravens and the Vikings.
He just nuked a lot of units with a Seeker missile from around the side there, and he did zone JonnyREcco out, but it looks like JonnyREcco is going to be able to take out this command center, or at least do some considerable damage to it.
Wow, look at that huge ball, that clump of Vikings launching so much damage at each Corruptor. He's going to be able to focus them down one by one. The Ravens are fungled at the moment, but they have a ton of energy on them. They're looking for those Seeker missiles. They move forward. Are they going to be doing it? I see Yamato cannons on the Broodlords, but really this is an air battle for the ages. JonnyREcco going to GG out after some incredible explosions going on from BeastyQt. Great start to the series.
That looks like a shot from the back of the StarCraft box, honestly. That looked like a promotional image there at the end. But BeastyQt does take game number 1 in style against Dignitas JonnyREcco, and that gives a 1-0 advantage to Empire at the moment.
That actually looked like a still from the movie Starship Troopers, where JonnyREcco is actually the name is borrowed from. So that was pretty cool. We didn't really see any knurls or
no.
I was actually trying to
none of those
pump up JonnyREcco during those fights, but really it was just so one-sided. It was like I'm BeastyQt, I'm gonna drop everything possible all over you, and the Yamato guns on the Broodlords were just fun to watch, and so just explosions in the sky happening there.
Yes, good
for
band.
BeastyQt. Okay band. Anyway, Bishu is going to be up next for Dignitas, so we're going to actually have some Protoss action.
Yeah.
Looks like they were not confident in throwing up another Zerg right away to BeastyQt's superior TVZ. So, yeah, on the other side of the break, we'll get back with Bishu versus BeastyQt.